Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you another card I created for Stampin' Up! As part of their artisan design team. The products are from the Framed Florets collection. I shared my first card that I made for this assignment earlier, and if you missed that video, you can click on the link in the top right corner to go watch that one. There are some beautiful products in this collection, and I share all of them in that first video. Today, I am focusing on the Framed Florets Bundle, which includes the stamp set, Framed Florets, and the Framed Florets coordinating dies. These dies cut out the stamps, as well as provide some really beautiful framed oval images. And so we'll be using some of that today for our card. To purchase any of these products that you see me use today, please visit my online store, and the link is below in the description. Today's card uses colored cardstock to make bold flowers that pop against the white card base. I have a lot of tips to share for these flowers, so make sure to see all of them by watching to the end of the video. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. You may contact me using my email address or shop with me using my online store link. Both can be found below in the description. So the first thing you need to do when creating a card like this is to choose some coordinating colors. So because we've got a lot of floral images, we're going to need a green. I've chosen Granny Apple Green. I love the brightness of that. And I really wanted to pull in some fun springtime colors. And then I also have 3 other fun coordinating colors that can be used for floral images. I have Flirty Flamingo, Pool Party, and So Saffron. And I just have some large scrap pieces that I'm going to stamp on today. So I'm going to actually begin with the skinniest one. So that I'm going to go with the blue. So this is Pool Party. And I'm using my Stamparatus. So here is tip number 1. So I am going to use both of the single flowers as well as this large grouping of flowers, but not the largest. So I'll show you on the cover. So I've got the medium, the small, and then the grouping of 2. I am not stamping the grouping of 3. So the reason we're going to use the Stamparatus is because we can quickly stamp those images multiple times. Oh, you know what I need is the foam on the inside. So when you are using photopolymer stamps with your Stamparatus, you need to add this little foam insert. And this is going to help bring the top of your paper up to the stamps. I'm going to slide it over just a little bit so I know I'm getting it right in the center of that paper. Okay, so I am using Memento black ink for these outlines. So you're just going to add nice even coverage of ink and then stamp that onto your cardstock. Good pressure. If by chance your image doesn't come out very crisp or clear, you can always do a second stamp. All right, so that's nice and dark, perfect for our card. So we're going to go and move to color number 2. So Saffron, make sure that we're stamping. So I'm not actually touching my cardstock, just hovering above it to make sure it's in the right place. And I can go ahead and stamp again. Now you could do this technique with just a large clear block as well. However, you won't be able to do the double stamping in case it doesn't come out as dark as you want. So I do like, because we're not doing too much coloring for this card, I do want it to have a nice solid dark image. So I have been stamping them twice to get that crisp image there. So pretty. And then of course, our last color, which is Flirty Flamingo. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to stamp some leaves. And I'm going to just rotate my clear plate so that the stamps are on the outside, so that I can use this flat edge that has no stamps for my leaves. And I can use the lid of my Memento ink pad to hold it up so that these don't get on my workspace. All right, so I want to use the small leaf image here. Put that on my cardstock. And then I also want to use the single large one. So I've got this large one and then this small 2-leaf one. I'm not going to use the berries. So I want to kind of keep them close to each other. I need about, I think it's 3 of each. Okay, so I'm going to keep them near the top, pick those up. They're always a little bit sticky the first time if they don't have ink on them. So if you need to adjust your cardstock, you can do that. Just double check that it's where we want it to be, and then ink it up just like before. And I think that one's actually okay. So then we're going to bring it down our card. So I think we might need to bring it down 2 spots. Yep, that should be good. So you can remove the clear plate and hinge it down 2 of those notches. And then we're going to remove the magnet and move it and do it again down 2 more notches. Perfect. Okay. All right, so now that we've done all that stamping, we are ready to cut them out. And I have another tip for you on how to cut these out quick and easily, because there's a lot of them. The first thing is to pick one of these, and you're just going to line them up exactly as they are. So let's see, this one goes right over this medium flower. Whoops. And you will want to use washi tape for this tip. Okay, so you've got all of those dies in the right place. Make sure they're secure with washi tape. I'm going to do another piece of washi tape here between these 2 flowers, just to make sure everything is held in place and doesn't move. And I'm going to do the same here with my leaves. So same thing. We're going to run these through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then I'll show you that quick tip. So here's the tip. The tip is to not remove your dies from your cardstock. We have created a template. So because we used the Stamparatus and all the floral stamps and the leaf stamps are in the exact same place as they were on this particular piece, we can use the dies. We don't have to move the dies. They will fit perfectly over our other stamped images. So you just will need some more washi tape, and you line up your die just like you did before, but it's going to hold everything exactly where it needs to be for your other stamps. Okay, and then we'll run that through again. Okay, so those are all ready for our card. I'm just going to push those off to the side for a minute. And we're going to stamp our greeting next. You'll need a scrap piece of basic white cardstock, and you're just going to add that to your Stamparatus. And I'm going to use the Stamparatus again because I may need to stamp it twice just to get that nice bold image. And you could do a birthday, you could do the thank you. There's some really beautiful greetings here. So this one says, "Thank you with all my heart. So lucky to call you friend. For a special person on a special day. Just a little reminder that you are loved. Celebrate." And then we're going to use wishes for a beautiful birthday. I think that just looks so nice. Like a little bouquet of flowers for a birthday. So pick up your stamp and then we'll add some ink to it. And let's go one more time. Perfect. There are some really fun frames, again, in that coordinating die set. I'm going to use the smaller of the three. And I've already got little washi tape on there. And I'm going to do my best to place it in the center of this oval. And then, of course, run that through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So the fun thing about that die is that it does cut two pieces. You get the outside edge and then the inside oval. And we are going to be using that to our advantage for this card and really accentuating that fun die. So before we can put our card all together, we're going to do something fun to these flowers. So even though these colors are nice and bold, the flowers feel a little flat. So my next tip is to add a little bit of color to the center of the flowers to give them a little bit more of a pop. You can see from my original card that they pop a little bit more than just the flat cardstock. So to do this, I grabbed my coordinating Stampin' Blend markers. So I've got Flirty Flamingo, I have Pool Party, I've got Daffodil Delight, which is actually darker than the So Saffron that we used, and then I have my Granny Apple Green. And what I'm going to do is start with the dark color, and I'm going to add some dark color to the inside of these flowers, maybe along the inside petals, anywhere that I think maybe a shadow should be. And I'm just focusing on the flowers. I'm not doing any of the leaves, especially in these groupings. Okay, so let me go to the next one. I'll give you a close-up of this. And it can be done pretty quickly. You don't need to be too careful with it. Just be careful not to add too much ink to the flowers because it can make that memento ink bleed a little bit. All right, so you see the dark, that one is the Flirty Flamingo. So then I can take my light and just do a little bit of blending. Okay, I kept this very center of these flowers in the dark, so I didn't add any light to the center. But this is just going to really help them pop against the rest of the color. All right, so you see how they're popping against, especially this one. It pops against all of that, the leaves that are around it. And we're just going to do that to all of our images here. So again, start with your dark color. And then go to your light color. I just love this technique. I think it does a great job of being really quick and easy way to color these images. We're going to use the fine tip here because that brush tip is definitely well loved. There's the yellow one. So that one's a little darker just because the ink color is a little darker. The pool party, sometimes I feel like I need to go back with my dark again and just bump up that color because it really is very close to the color of cardstock. So it just needs a little bit more sometimes. Then I have my 6 leaves here, and we're going to do the same thing. A little bit of dark, and then just kind of fill it in with a little bit of light. Just keep it really simple. And we're just adding a little bit of color just to make it so they pop. We're not trying to make it look realistic or anything like that. All right, so now that we've got those all colored, we're ready to add everything to our card base. I've got a card base of thick basic white cardstock, and it's just been cut to your regular size, which is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25. Then I have a piece of basic white cardstock that I embossed with the Painted Textures 3D embossing folder, and then added it to my card base with dimensionals. Next, I'm going to take some liquid glue, and on my large flowers, I am going to lay these down in kind of a triangle shape on my card base. So I'm going to start with my yellow, somewhere about there, and then my blue. Let's turn it just a little bit so it's a little bit of a different shape. And then my pink. Now, when I create wreaths like this, I want to make sure that my colors are kind of opposite of each other. So then you can lay down your oval frame and just get an idea of if everything's where you want it to be. And I think I like that. Okay. So I'm next going to let's add just a couple of these leaves next. So these are the big ones. And again, a little bit of liquid glue here. That just gives me a little bit of a chance to move things around. I'm going to tuck one underneath the yellow up here at the top. And let's do a second one down by my blue flower, kind of coming across, balancing out that shape right there. Okay. So that's our first layer. I also wanted to add some splattering to the card. So I'm going to do that now before I get too far. And I'm going to do that with my basic black Stampin' Write marker. And I do that by the brush tip goes inside your cap and you just flick it out. And you can get a little bit on those flowers as well if you want. So it just creates this really nice fine mist splatter. So let's go ahead and add the frame next. I don't want it to be tacked on too much just because I want to be able to tuck things underneath it if I feel like it needs to be. So I've added just a little bit of liquid glue around the edge, just in little sections, and then place that onto my card and try to find the center of your card. Okay, it's going to look something like that. And now we get to kind of add other little elements on top or underneath, depending on what we want. And we can also add them with dimensionals. We may also want to add our greeting now that I think about it. So let's do that too. I've got some dimensionals here. That's definitely going to get popped up with dimensionals. So 1, 2, you want to leave kind of the outside edges free so that we can tuck flowers and leaves underneath it. So just kind of pop that right in the center. And then let's just start adding some things. So I've got a large pool party flower. I'm going to add 1 or 2 dimensionals to the back. I'm going to place that up near the top. And then I want to add a little bit of yellow right here. So I'm going to actually tuck in a little yellow flower with some liquid glue. Just try to make it feel very organic, not too stiff. Let's come down here and work in this area next. I've got a large yellow, might look nice right there. So let's do one of those and pop that in, I don't know, right about there. And then we'll do a small pink, just kind of balance it out. We don't want to add a blue because there's really nothing there between the flower and the blue flower there. So let's just add a pink one. Okay. And then to kind of break this up a little bit, I think we should also add a leaf. So just kind of look at your colors, look at your shapes, kind of try to figure out what's going to look best around. And if you need to do more stamping or cutting, you can do that as well. So I need a couple more pieces of dimensional. I've got another large pink flower. And let's place that. Let's flip it over. Place that right there maybe. And then the blue one. And then I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use these 2 small leaves on each side of that grouping. I think one I'll actually use with glue instead of dimensionals. So let's tuck this one here just to bring a little color between that, and then we'll tuck another one maybe underneath the frame. Okay. All right, so I've used pretty much everything. I did have one of these left over, so you could even add that to the inside of your card if you wanted as well, or find a place where you'd like to add that. So I just love the beautiful shapes that this creates. I love the organic nature of the flowers and leaves, and then that shape that we created with those flowers against the geometric shape of the oval. It's just a really beautiful card. And the last thing that I want to add, just to give a little bit of shimmer and shine, are these gold adhesive backed swirls. And I'm just going to add about 5 to my card. A couple up here in this splattered area, and then maybe 1 inside the flowers somewhere. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this beautiful card today and seeing some of the tips and techniques that I used on this happy birthday card. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images of how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.